Yeah, just a bit of information regarding fasting and a few things you may want to consider. So, is fasting and good food the ultimate answer to most problems or most health problems? For me, it was. I ended up fasting without meaning to. Suffered a blood clot, suffered a stroke, couldn't eat or drink, couldn't swallow for about 5 days. Um, and then it was only little puree food and bits and pieces that I could consume. Before that, I was just on a drip, and then eventually, after about 4 or 5 days, I got a tube down my throat, and that's what I put up my success. But a friend of mine who'd been suffering what was put down to long COVID, and her life was going downhill day by day, suffering all the problems with no energy, no breath, chest pains, and then when she started to become mentally black thoughts, whatever you could say, she wasn't thinking very positive. And then she started reading on one of the sites because she knew that I liked fasting, and then I put it down to turning my life around. A German fasting clinic, which has been operating for over 100 years, has published a lot of positive results and claim that fasting from 5 days to 15 days and good food has got rid of long COVID. And she tried it, and it worked good for her. It took a little while. After she'd been going to a lot of doctors and no one seemed to come up with any solutions. But then what happens is when you start to restrict what you eat, you start to look at what you're actually eating more and more. So the less you do something, the more special it is when you do it. The more you do it, it's not that special, and you just don't look at it the same. So the problem is with our food, when you go to the supermarket and you pick up anything that's in a tin or in a can, say something simple, for example, pickled onions. Half of them have got colours in their flavours, emulsifiers, sugars. Gee, how hard is it to make a nice food? So, and then a lot of our food is lacking a lot of nutrients. So you need a lot of, you get out of everything what you put into it. So what she done, she turned to a lot of seafood, like these oysters here and sardines, for nutrients that she was considering she was losing or missing out on. But she did do a 3-5 day fast over 3 months, and when she ate, her eating window could be anything from 6 hours to 12 hours, but then after she finished eating, she didn't eat again for 24 hours. She always done 24 hours in between eating. She didn't do the standard fast, which is the intermittent fasting. They go, you eat for so many hours and then you rest for so many hours. She didn't do that. But one thing that she did eat, and I'd never looked at it before, was these tiger nuts, which are really a bulb, and they've got a lot of good properties in them. But like everything, you don't want to overeat anything. And then the other thing that a lot of us look at is something that can give us probiotics. I mean, it's been written by plenty of people in the know that your immune system is the key to your health. If that's working well, and for that to work well, you need to be able to get all the nutrients, and you need good gut health, so the probiotics. And then she did get a lot of honey from me. This is just raw honey that I do from my own beehives, so it goes canted pretty quick because it's not heat treated. So that, being as I've had a bit of experience with bees, I know if you buy honey from the shop and it's been treated, you feed it to your bees die. So how good is that? And it's the same with olives. You look at olives, some of them have just got a few mild ingredients. Others have got colourings, flavourings, emulsifiers, food, gum. And you go, gee, how hard is it to eat healthy? Well, actually it is. It takes a bit of effort to go through, read everything and find out what is or isn't going to suit your system. So even dates, for example, you pick up a packet of dates, 100% dates, that's it. Then you pick up another packet and they've got different oils added to them. So you need to really go through everything. And then I produce a lot of my own food. Well, not a lot of it, eggs and grow a few veggies and that. So I'm happy. I know that they don't have any poisons or sprays or chemicals, because all those chemicals and poisons and toxins and fungicides and pesticides and herbicides just create hard work for your body. So that's why you read different stories about people who have been fasting and they detox and then they're a lot better and a lot healthier. But if you don't get that in your system to start with, that's a big advantage. But, say for example, oysters, you need to look where they're coming from. These oysters are actually from New Zealand. They don't have a lot of heavy industry in that. But they're rich in zinc and all the other vitamins and minerals. With the soft berries and that, I'm always concerned, because I don't grow any of them, how much sprays and poisons and toxins, because bugs obviously love them. And then with your meat, you just want grass-fed meat, That's what I look at anyway. Everyone has to make up their own mind and their own choice. And your body will tell you what it's happy with and what it's not happy with. So I seen a video this morning and it was regarding intermittent fasting is a waste of time in their study. It doesn't work. But all they were looking at is weight loss. But there's more than weight loss, there's time to give your body to regenerate. But what happens is when you restrict what you eat, or your eating time or your eating window, then you start to look at what you actually do eat and do consume. So after I've done a 3-day fast, which I do quite often nowadays, and I'm then very fussy what I eat. I can't handle much in the way of carbohydrates, and I never eat anything sugar. I never have sugary drinks and that. So I got out of hospital after 10 days, even though I couldn't actually eat very well and I couldn't walk. My vision had actually came back, but I couldn't talk, and I still struggled with my balance a lot those days. But I put down the time that I gave my body to repair, go into repair mode instead of feeding mode, was a big benefit for me. The other people who I've seen stuck in hospital, they hadn't improved for the 10 days I was in there, and I couldn't wait to get out. But it was such a struggle that for the first week or 5 days or whatever, I couldn't even drink a glass of water. I was only being fed through a tube. So I don't know. Fasting worked for me. Fasting worked for my friend who had been to a lot of doctors, and they said, oh, you're just suffering from long COVID and it's just got to take its course and you'll be right within a year. Well, after about 8 months, she was at wit's end and was thinking of she had no future and she was going to finish it. But after reading, thanks to YouTube, different sites and different things on fasting, it turned her life around. But it wasn't just the fasting. Then she started really concerned about what she was consuming and how much work and overload she was giving her organs of her body. So anyway, that's just a quick bit of a video, a bit of food for thought. There's plenty of information out there. And it's always worth double checking whatever you're thinking or planning to do and that. But see these tiger nuts, they're worth looking at and considering because they have a lot of antibacterial properties, and if you read about them, they go that where antibiotics have let people down, they've then consumed tiger nuts, and they work the same way and have solved their problems or their health issues and everything else. But even like sardines, for example, you can get sardines that have just got olive oil in them. That's the ones I go for. And then you get other sardines and they're just full of crap. Anything that comes in a tin or a can or that's been mucked around with by manufacturers, you really need to look at it. So most of the food that comes from, for example, America, and that has corn syrup in it, or where the food that comes from the countries who are less up with all the chemicals and pesticides and herbicides and fungicides and food colourings and everything else, they have less in them. So, and you can't always trust the label. You need to trust yourself a lot. But I don't know, I've always liked a lot of eggs. So I'd been a non-drinker, non-smoker, been healthy all my whole life, and when this COVID come around, all of a sudden you're trying to do everything right, like a flick of a switch, I lost everything. I lost my balance, my eyesight went to double vision, and it was blurry, couldn't speak, couldn't walk, couldn't talk, and that. So you can't look at blaming this or blaming that. What you've got to look at is the solutions, and the solution for me was giving my body, well, this is my feeling, everyone's entitled to their own thing and you need to think things out. But I think I gave my body chance to repair, and it wasn't actually my own choice. At the time I was just laying there with a million tubes hanging out of me and cords off me, and I couldn't eat anyway. And when I saw the other people in the same ward as me, all suffering similar problems, and a lot of them didn't make it through the night, and others never improved at all. And I was very, very lucky, one way or the other. Anyway, think about what you're eating, that's all I can say. And a bit of fasting costs you nothing. See you later.